Hello, hello. I'm gonna give just a minute to see if anybody hops on live. But today I am going to be chatting with you about how to bundle or create hashtag bundles for your niche versus your industry. This is a very common question that I get with my clients as well as the members of Hashtag Hub, my monthly hashtag membership. It's a very, very common question that I get, so I wanted to be able to provide some information for you in this setting. Hello, and be able to just help provide some insight on this topic. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them as I go, and I'll be checking to see. But I wanted to be able to share some of my thoughts. I did take notes. If you see me looking over to the side, I'm just looking at my notes to make sure that I address everything. But yesterday I was doing a training video for the Hashtag Hub members, and really felt like this was something that needed to be shared with everyone. So I'm going to dive right in. If you are a business owner and you're currently using hashtags, you might notice that you are attracting other individuals from your industry. Let me know if that's you, because that is a very common thing that I hear, is that I just keep getting people in my DMs or commenting or whatever that do the same work that I do and that are not my niche clients. They're not people that you're trying to attract. So if that sounds like you, keep listening, and hopefully I can shed some insight on this topic for you. So for me personally, when I look at my industry is online business managers, so OBMs, it's online marketing, virtual assistants, etc. So it's in that world. So when I use hashtags like hashtag online business management or hashtag virtual assistant community or hashtag online marketing, I'm going to attract individuals to my account, to my content that do those things, more than likely, because my niche is not hanging out in those tags. They're just not. If I want to make connections with my industry, those are the types of tags that I want to use. And that could be the case for some of the posts that I make. They are directed more towards my industry and calling in those collaborations, those connections, things like that. However, that's not always the case, right? So for me, my niche are conscious business owners. They're witchy women. They're conscious leaders, etc. So, spiritual entrepreneurs. So those are more the hashtags that I'm going to use, because those are their industry related hashtags. Let me know if that makes sense to you. So those are going to be more along the lines of the hashtags I'm going to focus on when I'm creating my hashtag bundles, rather than including all of my industry tags. I'm going to want to use hashtags that my niche are using, either to identify themselves, or those are the areas that they're hanging out in on Instagram. So you want to be including more of those hashtags rather than industry related hashtags. So really take some time with this. I don't want to get too much into this because this is something that I train on, but when you are creating hashtag bundles and doing research for your hashtags, this is something that as a conscious business leader, you have to set aside time for. This is a non-negotiable. It's one of those back-end things like business tracking that you should be doing every single month or weekly or quarterly. You should be setting aside time in your business for hashtag research and really putting some, time and energy into this. It is something that can be overwhelming, so just take it one step at a time. What I recommend doing for those of you who are starting out, you've never created hashtag bundles that are niche specific, you just tend to kind of call in and attract your network or your industry, is to sit down and write out like all of the descriptive words and phrases and things like that for your industry. And then do the same for your niche. Where are they hanging out? Different questions that you can ask yourself are things like, where are my ideal clients hanging out on Instagram? What do they enjoy doing? Where do they shop? What are their hobbies, etc. So for me, for example, I want to attract, my niche clients are, female identifying humans who, they love plants, they love nature, they love being in the outdoors, hiking, exploring, so I would probably use or, search and engage in tags that are, plant mom or earth witch or, things of that nature that really are specific to my niche. That's where they're going to be hanging out. Those are the types of posts that they're going to be looking at and engaging in themselves, so that when I use those tags, my content then is going to pop up for them, rather than your content popping up for your industry and then those are the only folks that you're engaging in, right? So that's why it's really important to make the time for these things, for this research, and to begin putting it into play. So hashtag bundles, just a super quick overview, are you can use up to 30 hashtags. I recommend using all 30. You want to use a variety of sizes and you do want them to be specific to your niche as well as to the to the content that you are sharing. If you're a teacher, you're not more than likely going to be using travel hashtags unless you're a traveling teacher, right? So you want to use hashtags that are going to be specific to your niche as well as specific to your content. So it does take time, it does take energy, it does take focus, but it is worth it. So I recommend creating several different bundles. You don't want to use the same hashtags over and over. If any of this sounds new to you, like this, real quick stuff that I'm giving you, make sure that you join my Hashtags 101 free webinar this Thursday, because I'm going to be going over all of this information at that time. But create those bundles, make sure that they're easy access for you, and make sure that you are calling in your niche. Make sure that you're not just using the hashtag bundles themselves. You also want to be engaging in your hashtags to further connect with your niche on that personal, authentic level. Okay, let me take a look at my notes, make sure that I'm not missing anything on that before I do jump into a question that I did get from my stories yesterday. So let me see. Yes. So again, just to review, it's important to gain clarity on your industry, what it is that you do, your work, your mission, your medicine. What is it that you do versus your niche? Who are you calling in? Who are your ideal clients? Who is it that you want to work with? Because more than likely they are going to be different. Even though I identify as a conscious business leader, conscious business owner, I'm more back end work because I set up systems, I do online management, things like that. So I'm not going to necessarily be calling in other OBMs. I don't want to attract them to my content. I want to attract my niche. Those individuals who, when I dream of my clients, the ideal humans that I want to work with, that's who I'm picturing when I am describing my niche and creating those hashtag bundles that are niche specific. All right, so to switch just a little bit, this is a very specific question. This person asked, what types of tags do quote unquote regular people, not coaches, use? So this definitely goes along with what we were talking about as far as doing tags that are niche specific versus coaching or industry specific. So again, coaches may be using hashtags that are specific. I do find when I'm doing my research myself that a majority of individuals that are, especially in the coaching industry, use industry related hashtags. That is a very common thing that I see, and it doesn't make me laugh. I'm not laughing at them by any means, because I used to do the same thing. It's just, I don't know that they're gaining as much exposure with their niche that they want to and attracting those clients to them. So it is something that I notice that happens regularly. So a way to kind of think about, what those who are not, maybe they're not business owners, they're not entrepreneurs, they're not coaches, they're not looking to gain anything by using hashtags, right, to expose their content to a specific audience. So in that regard, you really want to think super specific as well as super broad, because more than likely, if they are looking at a specific hashtag, they're looking for a specific reason. For example, location hashtags, location plus your industry or plus, what it is that you do is very important, especially if you have a location that is like brick and mortar, or you're location based, you do classes or hold space for somebody in a physical place, physical sense. So for me, I live in Ohio, so I could do, if I did in-person type work, I could do Ohio business management, or Akron, Ohio business manager, or something along those lines. I want to get as specific as possible, because if somebody is looking for an Ohio-based service, they are going to find my content, my profile, my account under that hashtag. That's something like, especially if you're a hairdresser, if you're an esthetician, if you're a yoga instructor, if you, like I said, if you are doing anything in person, it's very important that you also add in location-based hashtags so that you can reach those niche clients that are going to be searching and using those tags in the search bar to find you. I searched on Instagram for a local nail salon, and I couldn't find one. There was no one in my area that was using the specific location hashtags. So make sure that you're doing that if you have a physical location. Another thing too is if you offer any sort of informational training, or you're providing content, or you have a blog or a podcast or something where you're teaching on a specific topic, it's always really good to add in some hashtags that it's like, for example, for me, if I had a blog, I could use Online Business Management 101, or if you're a yoga teacher, yoga instructor, yoga for beginners, yoga 101, to where people are going to, like I said, either be very specific, like location-based hashtags, or more broad in the sense of these folks are trying their hardest to find information on this topic that they are searching for in the search bar on Instagram, to where they can connect with the content, the accounts, the human behind the screen who can answer those questions for them. So that's why it is really important when you're creating your bundles to use a variety of sizes so that you are able to reach a variety or reach your ideal clients, your niche, wherever they might be hanging out. This is all trial and error. It is trial and error. You are going to have bundles that totally tank, and you're going to have bundles that are amazing, and you're going to have some that are middle of the road. It really is trial and error. So that's where even spending some time on just checking out, seeing where people are hanging out, where are people commenting, where are people engaging, what types of accounts are they on. It's important to do that back end research so that you're able to have a better idea of where people who aren't doing what you're doing, your niche clients, to find out where they are hanging out. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you have some insight into how to bundle your hashtags for your niche versus your industry. I would love to know what your takeaways were. If you learned anything, feel free to drop them in the comments. I am going to be resharing this as an IGTV, so please let me know. Feel free to share if you found value from this video. Would love to hear any of your insight. Please make sure that you sign up for my free Hashtags 101 webinar. It'll be this Thursday, the 22nd, so in 2 days. I can't wait to share more. Sending lots of love.